Should you buy the iPhone 17 Pro, Apple's most advanced new iPhone, or the iPhone Air, the slimmest iPhone Apple has ever made? That's the question I want to try to answer today, and frankly, kind of selfishly, because it's the question I'm trying to figure out. I have the iPhone 16 Pro. I am a year-over-year upgrader, and normally the decision is not much of a decision. But this year, Apple has made the equation a lot harder because there's a new phone in the mix, the iPhone Air. First, let's review some of the biggest differences between the 17 Pro and the 17 Air. The 17 Air is 5.64 millimeters thick, or 5.64 millimeters thin, depending on how you look at it. The iPhone 17 Pro is actually a little thicker than the iPhone 16 Pro, which is what I have here. This is 8.25 millimeters, and the iPhone 17 Pro is 8.75 millimeters. And actually, the iPhone 17 Pro is just a little bit bigger all the way around on all the dimensions than the 16 Pro. Will you notice it? I don't know. Now, the question on everyone's mind is, how does the battery compare between the iPhone 17 Pro and the Air? And particularly, how does it compare if you're coming from an older phone? Well, this is where it gets tricky because Apple has a rather funny way of measuring battery capacity. Apple likes to quote video playback hours. I think what Apple is measuring there is a video already stored on your phone. And how many times are you playing back a video that's stored on your phone? But fine, Apple, let's look at video playback quoted hours. So the 16 Pro, what I have here, this is quoted as 27 hours of video playback. Will you be playing back video for 27 hours straight? Probably not, but sure. The iPhone 17 Pro is quoted at 33 hours, so 6 more hours. The iPhone 17 Air is quoted at 27, the same as the 16 Pro. But again, I think this metric is a little bit funky. So how well does the battery on the iPhone Air perform in everyday life? I think all of us are just going to have to get it out into the real world and test it. Next, let's talk about the cameras, because I think this is also going to be a huge distinction between the models. The iPhone 16 Pro that I have here has 3 cameras on the back. 2 are 48 megapixels, but the telephoto lens, the lens that allows you to shoot things that are far into the distance or to get a macro shot of something really up close, that was only a 12 megapixel camera. On the new 17 Pro, all 3 cameras are 48 megapixels. So if you find yourself at sporting events in big arenas trying to shoot down on the field, or you like to take photos of things that are really small, that 48 megapixel camera on the new 17 Pro is going to be important to you. The iPhone Air, however, has a single camera. It's 48 megapixels, and Apple is claiming that it's 4 cameras in one somehow. Sure, that's marketing speak, but you're going down from 3 cameras to 1 camera. Look, the phones on these cameras have been spectacular for many, many years. And I can remember my mother-in-law, who for years had just a single camera on her iPhone, taking photos of us at vacations, and they all looked fine. Not the best, but fine. And now Apple has released a phone with their best single camera system to date. So I have to imagine for the vast majority of everyday shots, that single camera is going to also be fine, maybe even more than fine. Good, even. A few other things I just want to mention. The front-facing camera across the entire 17 line just got upgraded to a 12 megapixel camera. And that's the exact same camera across all 3 new phones. Additionally, all the phones just got Apple's new N1 chip. This is not the cellular modem. This is the Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and Thread radio modem. Also, the iPhone Air has the same processor that's now in the 17 Pro. It's Apple's new A19 Pro chip, which is confusing. The only difference is that there is 1 less GPU core on the Air variant of the chip. I don't know how important that's going to be to most people in daily life, There is another big difference between the Air and the 17 Pro that I think is worth mentioning. The 17 Pro includes a Qualcomm modem, either the same that was in the 16 Pro or maybe just this year's version. And that has all three bands of cellular connectivity that are available in the United States, the low, mid, and high band. And it's that high band that gets the fastest cellular service. More on that in a second. The iPhone Air, however, has Apple's new C1X cellular modem, and that doesn't get the high band of cellular service, what is called millimeter wave. But most of us in everyday life are not tapping into that high band of cellular service, that millimeter wave. I think it's worth mentioning, but in practice, I'm not sure how many people are going to notice the difference between the Qualcomm modem and the new C1X chip. So, where does that leave us? I think there are three critical factors each of us will have to evaluate and assess how important each one is to them in their real everyday life use of an iPhone. Number one is weight and size. If getting something smaller and slimmer is important to you, well, then the Air is the way to go. If, however, battery life is really important to you, you're probably going to want the Pro model. If you are out in the field doing work away from a place to charge your phone most of the time, or if you travel internationally and are on long flights, you probably want the Pro. The reason I say probably is that Apple has announced a new MagSafe battery pack for the Air that can greatly extend the battery life of the Air. But you're going to have to ask yourself, do you want to attach a battery pack most of the time, some of the time, none of the time? Finally, there's the matter of the camera. And I have to imagine for many people, this is going to be one of the most crucial factors. Whether you are a content creator and vlogger, or you have a family and are trying to capture photographs with the most pristine photography available to you, the iPhone 17 Pro camera system is going to be better than the Air, period. So most of us need to hone in on those 3 points of comparison when making the decision this year. I will add, for some of us, we're going to want to think seriously about having that C1X cellular modem and whether we need the millimeter wave cellular service or we think we'll be fine in most instances without millimeter wave. All right, so you're probably wondering, what am I going to choose? I'll be honest, I've been flip-flopping back and forth for the last 24 hours. At the time that I'm filming this video right now, I'm going for the Air. And here's why. There are so many unknown factors about using the Air in daily life beyond just the specs that are on Apple's website. And to really know if the Air is going to work for me or if I'm going to feel like it's holding me back, I have to get it in my hands and I have to really try it. I have to try it on my commute. I have to try the battery when I'm tethered to my laptop, which is something I do with some regularity. I have to try taking photos of my kids. Do the photos look serviceable? Am I going to regret taking the photos of my kids in this way 15 years from now? I just don't know the answer to those questions just yet. But here's what I do know. If you buy your phone from Apple, they have a 14-day return policy. So I'm going to get the Air, and I'm going to try to make it work for me because, damn, that thing is sleek. And there are a lot of times when I've had the Pro phone over the last few years, when I would have preferred something slimmer, when I would have preferred something that weighs less. I already carry a MagSafe battery with me when I travel internationally, so it's not much of a stretch for me personally to throw it in my bag because I always have one in my bag. So I'm going to really take advantage of that 14-day return policy and see if I can make the iPhone Air work for me. And if it doesn't work, it just costs me a few hours of transferring my data back to the Pro again. Which phone are you going to pick and why? Which one of the features is what's helping drive your decision? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much.